You're listening to the Whip Appeal Show hosted by MistressCandy69 from the BDSM Alive Radio Network. Hello, hello, hello. It is Friday, May 14th, 2022, and you are listening to the Whip Appeal Show by MistressCandy69. And hello, hello, everybody. I am back on the air, not live. Mistress had cervical neck fusion and a decompressed spine surgery probably about 3 weeks ago. So this is going to be my first show back from having surgery, and I wanted to welcome you all back to my show. Kind of interesting. The hospital, the surgery took 5.5 hours, and after my surgery I was kind of running around the hospital, so, trying to heal quicker than anticipated. And so it went well. I'm recovering pretty much. I really can't go to the gym for I don't even know how long. They told me until after I start physical therapy, which won't be until about another 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm recovering. Mistress has like a gash on her neck, but other than that, I'm pretty good. So anyway, I hope you all have been following me on Twitter at MistressC69 or at BDSM Alive Radio on Twitter. I also have a Facebook fan page from MistressCandy69, which I really don't have access to because my initial Facebook account actually got locked out and I have no access to my Mistress Candy page, so I've been battling with Facebook about that. And then I also have the Whip Appeal Show on Facebook, and of course you can go to the website, which is bdsmaliveradio.com, and there's a section on there for the Whip Appeal Show, because of course it's BDSM Alive Radio Network, and that's about it. So what have I been doing? Pretty much just recovering and kind of just doing my own thing, so to speak. Mistress is in fact gonna, start to do more shows. Not sure when I'm gonna go back to doing live shows at the moment, but if you're interested and would like to be on a guest on a future show, you could email me at MistressCandy1969@gmail.com, or you can email me at bdsmaliveradio@gmail.com. So if you're a mistress or a submissive or a master, or if you're in the industry and you'd like to be on the show, you know where to find me. Please stay up to date with my Instagram pages at The Real Mistress Candy69 and at The Real Mistress C69. And of course, I want to thank Blitzkid for allowing me to use your song She Dominates for my show still. It's very fitting for Mistress, if you ask me. And of course, I would like to thank our sponsor, Spunk Lube, for continued support, for supporting the show and, of course, the new show. And that's pretty much it. So let's see, what does Mistress have on the agenda for this evening? It's kind of interesting. People on Twitter and Instagram, they always message me, "Oh, hi, Mistress. Do you offer full toilet training?" Now, for instance, I'm not really into the toileting stuff. I mean, I am and I'm not, but it's not something that you just go do with, like, submissives. To me, it's kind of an intimate thing that you would do with somebody that you're in an intimate relationship. Or in the past, I've had submissives who were into, like, piss play, golden showers, things of that nature, and instead of them drinking it directly from my tap, I would then piss in a glass and make them drink it like lemonade, or I would like pee in pancake mix. Like instead of using water, I'd use urine. I made a birthday cake for a submissive once who was a toilet slave, who instead of using water in the cake mix, I used urine, and it like kind of stunk up the whole house. But in reality, that's the best way to give a submissive a taste of the mistress, putting piss into their food. Excuse me. After I had my surgery, not to change subjects, I actually was exposed to COVID, and I had COVID for 6 days. After my surgery, I had a fever for a few days, and I thought it was kind of, odd. Then I kind of got like really sick, like a bad cough and an upper respiratory type, and Mistress has asthma, so I kind of thought, oh, maybe it's just asthma, allergies, and a combination of having the surgery. But in reality, I took a COVID test on April 30th, and I tested positive for COVID. Now, before I went into the hospital for surgery, I did not have COVID. So is it possible that I got COVID from the hospital? Or is it possible that I got COVID from the people that I live with? So I'm not exactly sure, but then this past last Saturday, I had taken another test and it was negative. So I only had COVID for like 7 days. Am I vaccinated? Yes, but it doesn't change the fact that I still got COVID. So anyway, Mistress was thinking of creating an OnlyFans page, which I do have one for myself, for MistressCandy69, but down the road, myself and someone who I was close to may be doing some stuff on a different type of outlet. Myself and Cupcake in particular were talking about doing some like kind of kinky fetish type role play for videos to where people can pay to subscribe to see stuff that we do. And so you can be on the lookout for that in the next couple of weeks. I think we're going to start to try to do some stuff of that nature. And because people make a lot of money doing it. So Cupcake was telling Mistress the other day that he heard somewhere on WBAB that there's this couple from Brazil. They make like $40,000 a month doing like kinky shows and all different type of stuff. So I think Mistress and Cupcake are going to give it a go and see how it works out. And so when we do launch the OnlyFans page, you can kind of I'll let you know when it is, and you can go and check it out. So it's kind of interesting. But we may not be Mistress and Cupcake. We may be our regular selves. So we'll see how that goes. So it'd be kind of interesting to see us on a different level. My goal right now is to make as much money as I can and get myself an apartment and live separately from Cupcake. So that's what I have decided that I'm going to do. And we'll see what happens down the road. Now, interesting, BDSM, right? I always talk about this because a lot of young mistresses on Twitter ask me, like, I've heard different abbreviations for BDSM, different terms, like, what is it really? So BDSM is a term used to describe aspects of sex that involve dominance, submission, and control. The practice typically involves one partner taking on a more dominant role during sex, while the other is more submissive. The acronym BDSM can be divided by these categories: bondage, restricting a partner's freedom or movement, for example, with ropes, handcuffs, or other restraints. Okay. Discipline. And what you mean by discipline is it is agreed upon rules and punishments for a dominant partner to exert control over a submissive partner. Then you have the dominance aspect, which is the act of showing dominance over physical partner, either during sex or outside of the bedroom. Now, it's kind of interesting. Most forms of BDSM that I do not involve sex. Why? Because to me, it's all about the TPE, which is the total power exchange. Gaining control over someone who's willingly submitting to you. So my form of BDSM is the submissive is not in control. They are willingly submitting to someone, which means they are surrendering their body, mind, and soul over to the mistress or master. Okay, then you have submission, the act of showing submission to a dominant partner's actions and wishes, meaning the submissive is there for the mistress or master's gain, which means the sub will do anything the mistress or master dictates to them, okay? Then there's also the S&M aspect, which is the sadism and masochism or sadomasochism. The pleasure that a partner may feel from either inflicting pain, which is the sadist, evil sadism, or receiving pain, the masochist, right? Either physical or emotional. Now, it's kind of interesting. These are broader categories. There is no such one way to practice BDSM. As you know, I've been in the lifestyle for about almost 32 years now. So, things that I have done back in my day are kind of being not overlooked, but they're not really so much the new practices. Like, they have this thing called the TNG, which is the next generation. And these are younger dominants that kind of make up their own rules as they go along. So to me, when you're in the next generation and you're approaching somebody like me who's from the old guard, like old school BDSM, original BDSM, when it was kind of like done in dungeons and underground scenes and it really wasn't brought to the public until like later in life. There's different types of power play, including role playing or role reversal, pain play, bondage, wax play, edging, sensory deprivation, or humiliation. So sensory deprivation usually is done with a bunch of hoods, masks, things of that nature. Hold on a moment. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry about that pause for a moment. So where were we? So it's kind of interesting. Edging. Now, a lot of people, mistresses, young mistresses, always ask, like, what T&D is. T&D is tease and denial, right? So if you have a submissive in front of you who you control through, like, masturbation techniques, you can have them edge themselves to, like, a photo of you or a photo of whatever you are trying to hypnotize them into becoming. Most young mistresses will make cross-dressing or sissy males edge to a photo of two men, like, fucking each other in the ass, or a mistress wearing a strap-on. So the submissive would sit there and, edge, slowly masturbate their penis, like, whether it's, through, like, perversion, where they're kind of, like, edging themselves, slowly jerking off, bringing themselves to the point of orgasm, but then they're not allowed to finish the deed. So they have to, kind of bring themselves to the brink of an orgasm, and then the mistress, if they're in a session with the submissive, they would take, like, an implement, whether it be, like, a paddle or a light flogger or something of that nature, and smack the submissive in the cock and balls to kind of give them a little bit of pain pleasure. It's kind of conditioning the submissive into accepting pain, like turning them into a masochist, if you think about it. So you can do some, like, light edging techniques, or tease and denial, or wax plays, where you take, like, a bunch of candles, and, of course they make specific candles for people to use on the human body. Not that you couldn't use regular candles, but different types of wax play, like, you take a candle, you burn it. So you're basically holding it above a body below you, a submissive below you, and you're dripping hot wax on their nipples, or you're dripping hot wax down the crack of their ass. Or use your imagination when it comes to sensual wax play. I really enjoy the sensory deprivation, though, where you put somebody in a hood or a mask and a vac bed, where their body is completely restricted. And then they have a hood or a mask on, and then the mistress or master, if they're wearing a gas mask, where they would have, like, a hose attached to it, they would blow, like, smoke up the hose. Myself and other dames have actually flatulence